Hey everyone, I'm Taylor Martin with Android Authority, and about a year and a half ago, I had the bright idea to install a Nexus 7 in the dash of my FRS. Fast forward a couple of months, and Google decided to announce Android Auto at I.O., and it kind of crushed all of my dreams and ruined the project for me. But I wasn't going to let that stop me. Now that I have a truck that only comes with a cassette deck and a 6-disc changer, I decided I wanted to finish this project. I was going to install the tablet in the F-150, so I did. This is how I did it. Like I said, I originally installed this very Nexus 7 in my car last year and ultimately removed it to reinstall the original head unit. Plus, aftermarket Android Auto head units are starting to pop up, which provide just as sleek an appearance. So why do this again? Why not just go the way of Android Auto and call it a day? Well, for one, Android Auto head units are kind of expensive, and my truck doesn't have a true double-din head unit slot. Also because the Nexus 7 fits almost perfectly into the opening behind the faceplate, and I already had the parts, and they were only collecting more and more dust. The thing is, installing a tablet in your dash doesn't have to be difficult. You can do this in just a few hours and for relatively cheap, around $150 or less if you already have a Nexus 7 laying around. Here's what you'll need. A small head unit amplifier. This is the most expensive thing. I chose the Alpine KTP 455U 4-channel power pack last year because it's cheap and perfect for the job. It also easily fits inside the dash without any problems. You'll also need a 12-volt socket, a 2-port USB charger, a fuse tap with a 10-amp fuse. All of mine are still connected from the last install, and you can go check out that video to see more detail on how everything was connected. An RCA to 3.5mm adapter, Bluetooth adapter, which is optional. I went with Bluetooth so I can connect multiple devices without having to rip open the dash, a wireless charger, a handful of zip ties, and a compatible wiring harness for your vehicle. You'll also need several cable splicers. Some people prefer to use wire nuts, some prefer soldering, and others choose the crimp method. Any will do. Finding the appropriate wiring harness for your vehicle can be either extremely easy or very cumbersome. I just so happen to fall into the latter group, and you will notice that there will be tiny differences between your vehicle and mine all throughout this tutorial. You'll have to do some research and planning on your own, as every car is a little bit different, but for the most part, this is a very easily adaptable tablet install. Tools needed are scissors, a small screwdriver, wire cutters and strippers, a crimping tool if you have one, needle nose pliers, and potentially some wrenches and a multimeter depending on your vehicle. First things first, you'll want to find the proper wiring map for your car. There are several great resources for finding this information, which are all linked below. Before you do anything though, it's probably best to open up the dash, unhook the current radio, and see what you're dealing with. Make sure the wiring harness you purchased matches up perfectly with the connections inside your dash. If not, you have the wrong wiring harness. Period. I had quite a bit of trouble finding the proper harness for my truck. It turns out there is very little documentation on the exact configuration I have, and I ended up having to uninstall the factory amp and splice the factory wires to make this work. There's a very good chance you will not have to do this, but no promises. If everything matches up, you're ready to start splicing. Use the color codes on the wiring harness packaging to match up the wires from the head unit. Chances are they all have the same colors, yellow to yellow for power, green for left rear speaker positive, green with black for left rear negative. You get the idea. Once you've connected all the wires together, remove the pins and wires from the plastic connectors. This can usually be done pretty easily with a small screwdriver. Then take the wiring from your car that you found and repin your wiring harness to match up with the wires inside the car, left front speaker positive to left front speaker positive, and so on and so forth. It can be pretty daunting doing this your first time, but it gets easier as you go. This is probably the hardest part of the whole entire thing. I found it best to cross-reference the color codes with a picture I took of the wires in the dash. What you'll end up with is a total mess of wires coming out of your amp. Just use a few zip ties to clean it up before it gets tangled. Next, you're going to want to test it out. Remove the stereo from your car's dash, disconnect all the hookups, and attach your new wiring harness in the amp. Connect the RCA to 3.5mm adapter to the amp input, plug the Bluetooth adapter into this, connect your phone or tablet to the Bluetooth adapter, and play some music. If you're hearing that music, you're doing great. Next, you'll want to wire the new 12-volt socket into the car's internal fuse box, which usually resides underneath the steering wheel. Remove the cover, reference your owner's manual, and find a 10-amp fuse that is only powered when the key is turned on. Otherwise, your tablet and Bluetooth adapter will constantly drain your car's battery even when it's off. To do this, first ground the negative wire from the 12-volt socket. Any exposed frame of the car will do. Then remove a 10-amp fuse from the fuse box, insert it into one of the empty slots on your fuse tap, insert an additional 10 amp fuse into the fuse tap, plug the fuse tap into the empty slot, plug in the car charger, turn the key, and look for any signs of life. If the car charger works with the ignition off, look for another fuse to tap. After you've found a fuse you can piggyback off of, permanently ground your 12-volt socket's negative lead by finding a random screw and screwing it into the frame somewhere. And find a nice, convenient, and hidden location to attach the new power source. I fortunately have a covered panel in my floorboard that's close enough to the head unit that I can just leave it there. Drop the two USB cables from the wireless charger and the Bluetooth adapter through the hole in the dash down to the car charger and plug them in. Next, look for a place to semi-permanently attach the Bluetooth adapter. I drilled a hole in the side of a small unused compartment under my steering wheel and used some Velcro to attach the adapter. Then you want to do a little more cable management. Secure the amp inside the dash with some zip ties and attach the wireless charger to the Nexus 7. I originally wanted to use Velcro for this, but it was too thick and the Nexus wouldn't charge through both sides of the Velcro. So I used some double-sided foam mounting tape instead. The final step is mounting the tablet inside the dash panel. For this I'm using some Sugru, which may not be the most polished option, but it is a nice temporary fix until I can find something more permanent. Plus I want to be able to remove the tablet so I can do upgrades or tweak it overnight, rather than letting it sit in the truck all the time. Sugru makes this possible, but I'm still in search of a better option. I removed the dash and applied Sugru to either side of the tablet, near the bottom, let sit, and reinstalled the dash with the tablet inside. My only concern is that the Sugru isn't going to hold firm enough. The tablet seems to move just slightly when I tap it, so I will definitely need to look into a better mechanism to secure the tablet, but for now it works and looks fantastic. Best of all, with the Automate Beta, the Nexus 7 emulates Android Auto perfectly without sacrificing its true tablet nature. Automate also keeps the screen on when the tablet is charging and closes when it's not charging. In other words, if the truck is on, the screen is on. When the truck is turned off, the screen goes off. And there you have it, a Nexus 7 installed in the dash of my truck just in time for my road trip on Thursday. That is going to do it for this Nexus 7 dash install video, but if you want to see more DIY videos from me on Android Authority or any other videos from the awesome people here at Android Authority, be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the thumbs up button if you found this video helpful. And give Android Authority a follow anywhere and everywhere that you use social media. They're awesome and they're everywhere, so you should follow them. And you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and most other places around the web at Casper Tech. One last time, my name is Taylor Martin, and I will see you in the next one.